I was born in a family of five. My parents, both of them were primary school teachers, and what I remember so vividly was how strict my dad was. By God's grace, I came to Nairobi for the very first time in 2010 when I was coming to Kenyatta University as an undergraduate student to study commerce at Kenyatta University. And to be very honest with you, as a village kid, all I wanted was just to be a son that my dad would be proud of. That was really what I wanted to grow up to become. Um, I set foot at Kenyatta University as fate would have it. Um, I graduated, by the way, just to confirm that I did not navigate my way around. I did graduate from Kenyatta University with a commerce degree. By training, I'm a HR professional. That is what I'm trained to be. But then by career, I call myself an educationist because I have really grounded my career at ACCA around education. And um, I did join the organization in 2015. But then I'm jumping a point. While in Kenyatta University, my friends and I, who one of them is actually on this call, Monica Natiom, gratitude to you, a shout out to you. A friend of a group of six friends came together to form an organization while in campus, me as Networking Solutions. Well, I was in third year, and Monica and team were in fourth year. That team comprised of myself, Monica, Grace, um, Kelvin, and Jeffrey. And what we were simply trying to do was, well, that is what I was trying to do. I do not know about Monica and the rest. We were just trying to not sleep hungry while in the university. But then the company which we created, at the very beginning, we were not very clear of what we wanted to do. All we knew is that we had value to offer, because we started by offering trainings in the university. And then it turned out that we ventured into experiential marketing um, within campus, got a couple of clients on board, including ACCA. And after about 3 years, time came to move on. And I did move to ACCA. ACCA is the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. I joined ACCA in 2015 as what they would call an education officer. But then, really, what I was doing was marketing. So I would be the guy who is not in charge, but I would be the guy on the ground, going to universities and colleges and high schools, just preaching the ACCA gospel. Um, After 6 months, I got an invitation to become the education manager at ACCA, and I did that role from March of 2016 um, to some time. I can't really remember when, but then after about 2 years or so, um, I got a call to be the interim head of ACCA Kenya, because we lost the head of ACCA abruptly, and I was asked to step in on a very interim basis for 6 months. But then 6 months turned into 18 months, so they refused to let me go. Then after 18 months, I was asked to step into another role as head of Kenya and Tanzania. Again, did that role for 1 year. And then this year again, I've been asked to step into another role, which is the head of education portfolio across Eastern Africa. So I am a guy on transition as we speak. So the title of head of Kenya and Tanzania will be, I think, of the first effective 1st of July. The reason why I'm sharing all of these things is just to give perspective about how my career has been. To say that I've had an exciting career is a lie. I've had a normal career, but I've been a product of God's grace. And to be very honest with you guys, the turnaround came in 2017 when I met a mentor um, who shared with me. So the presentation which I want to share with you today, um, the foundation of that presentation is my mentor, and I give credit to her every other time. My mentor, one of my mentors is Mary Gadoga, not Mary Gadoga, but Marion Gadoga. She's the immediate former CEO of BOC Gases, and she was my boss for 6 months. What she helped me understand was that career progression is there is a science to it. If you want to step change your career or rather your growth, there is a science to it. And that is perhaps the reason why successful people continue being successful. And those of us who are averagely successful continue to be average. Um, so she did share with me the secret to how you can step change your progression. And that is exactly what I'm going to be sharing with you today. Because when she did that, then it opened um, for me a lot of avenues and perspective. Actually, what it gives me was perspective to career progression. And I can tell you for a fact, I have not been on a job for 2 years since then. I have always changed jobs. And I am not saying that, I've been lucky, but then there's been a science behind it. And that is what I want to share with you today. So permit me to, at this point in time, share my screen with you. Whatever you see, I am not responsible for it entirely, but I will try to just share the PPT by itself. I call this presentation deliberate growth because, as I said, what I've come to learn through these few years of learning and experiencing life is that growth has to be very deliberate and you have to put work to it. So perhaps before I do anything, I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions. So, Sheila, if you were to die in 30 days' time, what would you want to do differently? Just curious.
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Sheila Karuga. I'm joining here as one of the team players from Brainburst Technologies. So thank you for that question. Yes, like we normally say, God forbid, we all want to live until we are 100. Yeah, but we all know there is a time appointed for everyone. So in the event that was to happen, I think some of the things I want to do is uh, just continue to grow and perfect my skills and talents. Be more intentional on that. The other thing I'd like to do is mentorship. Mentor people in my area of expertise because my strength is in corporate communication. So I would really like to mentor those who feel they have a gifting there or a calling in that field, or just want to, the people who are keen on getting skills, even if they're not in the area of training, just for the sake of learning or as an value add in their career. So I can like to do that as well. The other thing I think I'll do on a personal level is just be intentional on taking care of myself. They say you can't pour from an empty cup. So just making it more holistic and being present. If I'm working, I be present. If I'm
Mm,
time
mm.
away with the family, I be present. Yeah. So in brief, that's what I'll say. Thank you.
Uh-huh, super. Thanks, Sheila. Really paints a very good. I love two words which you said: being intentional, and because if then you are intentional with everything that you do, then you begin to see things which ideally you don't see, and being present, because a lot of times life happens so fast that we fail to recognize or experience the full juices of life by being present. And this question, I was just posing it to put us in that mode of reflection, because if we then start living our lives more intentionally, then you realize that in 30 days time you can change a bit of things. And just to keep perspective, and I hope you are answering these questions for yourself. When you are present, with life, then you realize that you experience life differently. And I love that response which you have given. Allow me to go back to my presentation. In 30 days time, who do you want to spend time with? What would you want to spend time doing? These questions, a lot of times, we don't get to ask ourselves, like I said, because life is busy happening. And in this process of being deliberate about your growth, you realize that these questions can actually start to shift the way you think. Because if we are to think about death, then no one wants to die probably away from the people they love. Someone would probably want to start doing the things they enjoy most. I do not know. Anyways, why is this conversation which you're having today very important? I am hoping that you would wake up excited about what we do and live the lives that you want to live. Um, Around the time when I had this very conversation with my mentor, I was at the point where I had worked so hard in my career. Like I said, I was um, in 2015, I was promoted, not 2015, but 2016, I was promoted to an education manager role. Obviously, it was the first time I was getting into quote unquote management position, and I did fairly well. I was put on secondment for 12 months, and I did so much work. And then guess what? I was not confirmed. I was told that my secondment has been extended by another 6 months. And I was very frustrated. You can imagine you put in all the work, you're not being paid the money, you're doing the donkey work, then you're given a secondment allowance of 10%. Whereas, the organization is making, obviously, when you're in that position, you're making for the organization quite some money. That was my argument. But then when I had this conversation with my mentor, she shifted the entire conversation for me, which was sometimes we approach life as victims. You know, life has happened to me. Whereas we need to approach life as owners. We own the life that we have. God has given us the grace, extended us the grace to have a life. Not everyone today has the same chance that we do. Some people are ailing in hospital. Some people are wishing they had the chance to education. Some people are even wishing to have just the chance to work anywhere, literally anywhere. And it helped me to shape my paradigm. So I am hoping that by the end of this discussion, I hope that you will wake up excited about what you do and the life that you live. If you're not doing so already, I don't want to make assumptions. And the assumptions which I want to make today is these are my firm beliefs, by the way. So for these presentations, these are going to be our fundamental assumptions. If you've done research, you know that you have to make assumptions. So the 5 are my assumptions. 1, every person is uniquely gifted. Your intelligence, your drive, and your resource, every single person have their unique gifting. Number 2, every normal person wants to live a fully engaged life, characterized by impact, prosperity, and purpose. That no one wants to wake up and saying, oh God, did we have to wake up? Or, oh my goodness, it is Monday. Or thank God it is Friday. I say thank God it's Friday anyway. So every normal person wants to live a fully engaged life characterized by impact, prosperity, and purpose. Everyone wants a better family, a better organization, and a safer world. Engagement is 100% your responsibility and 100% within your control. And lastly, we're looking at better, more thoughtful personal plans. That is where to start. And as I said, for me, this is where I I began it all in 2017. better, more thoughtful personal plans is where to start. And that forms the basis for our conversation. So everything else which I've said before, scratch that. The conversation begins now. So, um, yes, there's someone I saw their name. Amwai, did you set and write down formal plans for this year? Just curious.
Thank you, Steve. To start with the question about setting goals this year, uh, I've set a few, but okay, I haven't managed to uh, tackle all, and
Well,
some I've
well,
achieved.
but you at least you set
Yeah,
them, and they are all formally written down.
sure, sure.
Super, super, super. I love that. There
Thank
was
you.
a research piece which was shared with me, um, that about 60% of people set their goals but they don't write them down. At the beginning of the year, they just have ideas of, this year I want to do A, B, C, D. But then by the time you are in July, the year is already running too fast. You even forget what you set out to do in the first place. And it is very important that, you know, at the beginning of every year, at the beginning of every month, at the beginning of every day, that you have a moment to reflect on the experiences that you've had, probably in the previous year, in the previous month, in the previous day. That way, you begin the following year, the following month, the following day more prepared and a lot more conscious. And there's a quote by Ben Sands. He says that it is only when experience is evaluated, lessons learned, and extracted, and new information applied that growth occurs. And over time, mastery emerges. So, if there is any trick which perhaps I would tell you today, it is not enough to write the goals down. It is not enough to have monthly objectives. What you want to do is, beyond having your annual plans, beyond having your monthly plans, you actually also have your daily plans. And the plans do not necessarily just have to speak into what you do at work. Um, they have to, expand through all the various facets of your life. And I will go into that in a minute. So like I said, traditional, a lot of people don't plan because really traditional goal setting doesn't work like we want them to, because a lot happens. The brain can only remember so much. Life is busy. There's just so much which can happen during the day, during the month, during the year, that if you don't take stock on a daily, weekly basis, then all can be lost. Now, I just wanted to give you some perspective around goal setting, which is critically important. What do you really want versus what do you want to do? A lot of us, when we set our plans, we start by asking ourselves what we really want, which is not the right perspective. It is all right, but it is not the best way to approach life. The best way to do it is to ask yourself, what do I want to do? Because when you look at it from the perspective of what you want to do, you are then on the driver's seat to determining what happens. You are then on the driver's seat to determine how the bigger picture will come into place. So, this is very important. It is not enough to say, I want this. It is important that you ask yourself, what do I want to do? Again, this is common knowledge. I call it common knowledge because this example has been given. These two examples which I have here have been given countless number of times, and I want to admit at this point that I am not the author of this. I equally picked it out of the podcast, and all of the materials which I've used as reference materials I will share at the end of this. So this is a typical case of what I want. Remember my previous slide of what do you really want versus what do you want to do? always begin with a conversation around what do you really want to do, as opposed to beginning the conversation with this is what I want. And I will take you through the science of it. So this is someone who was asked. He was he's a guy who was working within the White House, and he was asked the question, what do you really want? And he said, I want to be the president's energy advisor. But then he was also asked, what do you want to do? And he said, I want to save the planet. Realize that these are two different things. I want to be the president's energy advisor, vis-a-vis I want to save the planet. And this conversation goes, it's a principle behind the 5 whys. If on personal development, you're normally told that whatever you really want, if you ask yourself why 5 times, then you really know whether you want it or you don't want it. So he was asked again, okay, you want to save the planet. Fantastic. Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to be the president's energy advisor? So the responses to the left are vis-a-vis what he wanted. The responses to the right are vis-a-vis what he wanted to do. So he was asked, you want to be the president's energy advisor. Why do you want to do it? And he goes ahead to say, it is exciting. Energy experts are in high demand. The world is full of bad people, and I have the ability. So these are the reasons why he wants to be the president's energy advisor. But then if you below the excitement of the presidency, being an advisor to the president, lies the fundamental truth that the gentleman might not necessarily be looking at becoming the president's energy advisor. He just wanted to be engaged in a more exciting engagement. And on final questioning, he says that the reason why it is exciting, I want a more challenging role. So realize that it was not just the excitement which he was looking at. There was more into this. And that he says that I am bored at my current job. So the excitement has shifted from excitement to a challenging role to I am bored in my current job. On the second question, he says energy experts are in high demand. Beneath that, what he was actually insinuating was that he doesn't have to worry about finding another job. Beneath the question regarding the world is full of bad people, I know that from experience. So this is someone who was speaking from a point of pain, and I was an underdog in school. So the reason why I'm giving this example, and the next one perhaps you will relate with it a lot more, is humans as we are, sometimes we get clouded with titles, or we get clouded with imaginations of what we think we want. But when we take a step back to ask ourselves what we really want to do, we realize that we could be happier, more engaged, you know, perhaps with a lot less energy. Yeah. So the real reasons here were he's bored in his current job. He is worried about finding another job. Um, he's worried about job security. He is concerned about the fact that he was bullied in school, and the society appreciates those who do big things. So really what this speaks to are what we call the shared aspirations of humans. Every single human being, white, black, male, female, regardless of their orientations, they just want 4 things. And all of us on call today, if you question yourself further, you realize that all you're looking for is you're looking for growth, you're looking for security, you're looking for significance, and you're looking for love. That's the hallmark of human aspiration. Everything that we do, we're just looking for these 4 things. Perfect example. I want a promotion at my work. Why do you want a promotion at your work? It's a signal that I'm valued. Oh, I have worked hard. It means more money. I need new experience. If you looked at all these 4 answers, which the person who wanted promotion at work speaks to the same things. He wants to feel more valued. When he feels more valued, he's guaranteed of job security. I have worked enough. I want to be the very best. The very best gets respected. He wants to feel significant. It means more money. More money. Why do you need more money? Because my wife wants to start a business. I should support her. You see what it leads to? Love. I need a new experience. I'm bored in my current role. He's looking for growth. Every single human aspiration comes down to these four things: security, significance, love, and growth. And what I want us to discuss today, as I will go into the finer details, is how can you increase your security? How can you increase your significance? How can you increase your feeling of love? And how can you increase your personal growth? Now, like I said, all of these four things are what makes us human. These are our shared values as humans: security, certainty, ability to avoid pain and stability; love, deep personal connection with others; significance, to matter, to be important, to be valued; growth, to learn, to evolve, and to make progress. And I kid you not, you realize a lot of people who resign from their jobs, a lot of people who end up probably leaving, even cases of divorce and all of that. You realize that underlying all of those departures are a breach of these four components: security, love, significance, or growth. These are the deep-seated human aspirations. What makes us different, however, are our values. These are our feelings, our principles, and outcomes that we prioritize, the things which drive us to do the things that we do. For yours truly here, the things which drive me, they're 8 in number, and well, perhaps they're more, but these are the ones which I can pinpoint: grit, discipline, honesty, depth, justice, family, love, learning. These are the things which make me who I am. These are the values I appreciate and consider, the paragons of my being. These are the things which I prioritize. How about you? What are your values? Like I said, our shared human aspirations, those ones are set on stone. Everyone just wants these four. But then what makes us different are our values. Again, I ask, what are your values? So the secret to full engagement and full alignment, and um, the reason why most people are not happy with what they're doing where they are, is because they're not fully engaged. You find that their goals, their actions, and their values are not aligned. Their whys, their words, and their hows are not aligned. So when they're not aligned, you realize then that, doing the job that you do becomes a painful process. Being in the family where you are is a painful process. You know, Doing the business that you do is a painful process, because your why, your what, and your how are not aligned. And seeking alignment in these three is the hallmark to happiness. And like I said, the big deal, the reason why we're having this conversation, is to live a fully engaged life characterized by impact. Now, the process to full engagement, and this is perhaps should be the final slide. The pathway to full engagement, wherever you are, whatever you are, whatever role you're playing, whichever situation you could be at, is a 5-step process: review, reflect, clarify your priorities, identify your winning strategies, create the plan, review, and adjust. Very simple. Reflect, that is, just ask yourself what's working, what's not working, what have I learned? Then you clarify your priorities. What's most important things going forward? You identify your winning strategies. What is the right path with the highest probability of succeeding? Creating the plan. What do you do first? What obstacles can you overcome? Review and adjust, regularly assessing progress against the plan. I know I'm beginning to sound very technical here. Let me make it very simple. Now, in the process of reviewing and reflection, now this is an exercise which I want all of us to do. All of us to do. If you can see the color coding, and I am not responsible for the color coding, just saying. The 7 components. So, like I said, the pathway to full engagement is a 5-step process. Review and reflect. What's working, what's not working. Clarify priorities. What's most important going forward. Identifying winning strategies. What's the right path with the highest probability. Creating the plan. What to do first, what obstacles do you need to overcome. Review and adjust. Really very simple. It's a very simple process. And by the way, I will share this material with you so that you can engage with it. It was given to me freely. The teachings are things which I've learned by God's grace. I'm happy to share with this material with you. The pathway to full engagement. The first one is review and reflect. So let's go through that. Review and reflection. What are the life KPIs? The things which you always need to check. If you want to check that you are okay, then you check these 7 things. 1, your physical health, your emotional health, your personal finances, your personal growth, your relationships, your satisfaction at work, and your spirituality. These 7 components are what we call the key indicators of whether you are doing all right or not. So this is an exercise which all of us need to do. So I ask, these are very personal exercise. If we were on a round table, I would have asked you to do something, but then I'm not going to do that. I just want you to answer these questions at a personal level. It is yes or no. So what I want you to do is, in a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to score all of these questions in a scale of 1 to 10. Are we okay? So 1 refers to, so for question 1, for example, I feel physically healthy. If you feel physically healthy and all right, give it a 10. If you don't, give it a 1. So 1 would be the lowest score, 10 would be the highest score. Again, assess it by yourself. So do this by yourself. You can take question 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all of that question. So let's begin. First question, I feel physically healthy. Jason, what is your score for physical health? How do you feel?
Out of 10, 7.
Aha, thank you. I feel emotionally healthy, and this is where your emotions are. As at this point in time, just scoring yourself. Fred, let's take your score on this. I feel emotionally healthy.
Out of 10, I'll also do 7.
Okay, nice. We're doing all right. I am on track financially. And Editon, I will take you on this. I am on track financially. Out of 10.
I am. I feel I'm very on track financially.
What is your score on this?
I would give it financially, maybe, I think I would say at a 9 or even a 10,
fantastic.
because financials are very, it's a tricky area, because finances affect many aspects of your, like you gave human needs as the need for safety, love, and I need to be included. And I like that you characterized inclusion, and you divvied up inclusion into 2 aspects of significance and growth. I put that in one basket. And finances play a major role in this, because if struggling with finances can affect your feelings of security, and you might start feeling unloved, and you might start feeling insignificant, and you feel like you're not growing. So, and that finances affect those aspects up to a certain level, up to a certain earning level. And beyond that amount of earnings, the additional, what we call marginal additional satisfaction from more finances goes to diminish. So I think I'm at a level where I don't think I would derive too much more satisfaction from getting more money. You know what I mean? That's why I grade myself as a 9 or a 10. Not because I'm the richest person, but because I've reached a point where I'm fairly satisfied with, because happiness can be interesting. There's people who have all the money in the world, but they're not happy. So it depends on how you measure it. So I would say I'm at a 9 financially. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And that is why it is important to know that this is a very personal journey, and
It is.
we are
Yeah.
all different. And
Right.
if you, this is a journey which you have just to take by yourself. You know, please keep answering these questions. I feel like I'm learning, growing at a personal, both personally and professionally. I feel a high level of connection with others in my life. I love what I do. I am energized to go to work every day. I feel connected with God. I feel a high sense of purpose and meaning for my life. I feel that the last months have been the best of my life so far. So, you know, you keep giving those scores, and the principle of this exercise is, we said we are reflecting and evaluating. We are trying to assess, where are we not doing well? What do we need to do? So highlights of the lessons, you know, just keep asking yourself, of what am I most proud of? What are my key accomplishments this last, you know, this is also another set of exercise which you can do, you know, just to assess yourself. When was I most excited? When was I most bored? What relationship got stronger? Which ones got weaker? When was I most challenged? What didn't happen that I hoped would? Key lessons learned, important books and resources read, what made me angry, what did I say yes to which I should have said no to, what did I say no to which I should have said yes to. And this is just reflecting in the last 90 days. Yeah. And this is an exercise which ideally you should carry out every quarter. Every quarter you sit back by yourself, ask yourself, aha, so, you know, do this exercise a lot more periodically. Someone would ask, why do I have a million questions which I'm putting in the exercise? It's because what you don't know can hurt you. Sometimes you can wake up and you are, I remember one day we were having a fight with my wife. So I was teaching her how to drive. And, you know, we got to a certain junction. Thankfully, it was evening, it was clear. And she decided to indicate, but then there was an oncoming lorry, which was more than 70 meters away. And I told her, babe, you know, turn, let's, you know, we need to take a turn. And she just couldn't take the turn. And I was so pissed. I was so mad. I was like, turn, we need to get going. Later on in the night, she asks me, by the way, why were you so mad? Is it because I didn't take the turn? What is it? Really, what was the issue? Then you realize that really, on reflection, I realized that it was something else which had happened during the day, actually during the evening, which had made me so mad. So I had averaged everything else after that. So what we don't know can really hurt us without knowing. There are things which which you will never know unless we ask, and we won't ask unless we plan to ask. So really, it's important, and there's an exercise which I will recommend at the end of every single day. You do it, you'll be in a pathway to, you know, doing things differently. In clarifying your priorities, now that you have done the exercise, you know where you are emotionally, you know where, how you are doing, your state of health, how you're doing with your connections, how you're doing with your spirituality and everything else. It is important that you then identify where you are going to put a lot more energies at. So for example, if you realize that, you know, you're not, this last couple of months, or, you know, you've not necessarily had a very good personal relationship with God, it's important that, you know, you address that. If perhaps you realize that you have overspent, or you know, perhaps you've been getting annoyed a lot more than usual, then it's important to work on your emotional health. So all these questions address a specific aspect of our aspirations of security, love, significance, and growth. So I feel a, I feel a high level of security, physical, financial, and emotional. I feel a high level of love and connection to others. I feel a high level of significance and importance. I feel as though I'm growing personally. I feel as though I'm growing professionally. All these are questions which, again, I'd challenge you to ask yourself. But like I said, this is material which I'm going to share with everyone. This is something which you need to do as you clarify your priorities. So if you feel a high level of security, both physically, financially, emotionally, and you are at a score of 7 and above, you good. Just keep doing what you're doing. If you feel a high level of love and connection to others, and that you've taken into context with your immediate family, because that is the most important relationship that you need to be looking at, your wife and your kids, then your extended family, then you go to your colleagues at work and all of that. If you feel a high level of love and connection to others, fantastic. If you don't, then if you have a score of 7 and less, then it means that there is something which you need to do. I feel a high level of significance. So the key to this is understanding where you are not scoring so highly at and doing something about it, and doing very little and achievable daily things. Identifying the winning strategy. Winning is defined as a proven method of achieving our goals. It's very simple. Proven method which works. How do you do that? Before you go there, I want you to just probably be cautious of what we call Donkey Kong strategies. These are strategies which are fun to talk about, but very hard to execute. And they have a low probability of helping you whatsoever. So for example, you say that I feel, in your score for physical health of security, yeah, your physical health, you say you've not scored so well, probably you have a 5, then you decide that I'm going to run a marathon. A very ambitious, nice, good to say thing, but then you realize that it's sometimes not very easy to achieve. Or I'm going to enroll into a gym. Sounds very nice, but then how are you going to action it? Or I'll quit my job to travel the world. I'll start my company. These are exciting. They are exciting to say, but then not very easy to put into action. The best practice, this is best practice, have role models, have people who inspire you. These are people who could be around you, could be your colleagues, could be your friends. Obviously, in your circles, you have people who are probably doing very well with their finances. For example, they manage their finances very well. Like, for example, before I did this, my workplace mentor, the gentleman called George, he was someone who used to tell me, Steve, do you know I keep record of every single expenditure every single day? And I would be like, why would you do that? Why would you torture yourself with that procedure? Every single day, every expenditure, he knows how much he has spent. Even if it is airtime, he knows how much he has spent on airtime. Until I did this exercise, my journey towards financial security was not doing too well. So when you have role models, you start asking yourself, what do they do more of? What do they do less of? What do they prioritize? How do they manage their time? What special skills do they have? How do they learn? What do they learn from? What do they read? What do they watch? What's their approach to success? So I will just give one simple example of my winning strategies for security. And with that, I'll then jump. The next 3 slides are just the next six slides are just examples. So, for example, I want to have the feeling of security. So what do I do? Very simple things which I can do. Ask for more feedback. Ruthlessly prioritize. Every day in the morning, sit down and plan with just 3 most crucial things which I need to do just that day. Set a daily, weekly, monthly work schedule. Something which you can do. This is the Thursday of 28th, and these are the 3 most important things which I have to do before I leave this desk. Set daily, weekly, monthly work schedules. Question further, ask questions, questioning things. When you're in meetings, don't Don't be afraid to look stupid by asking questions. Actually, you end up looking smart by asking questions, even if they're not so smart questions. Aligning with my wife, my boss, and my colleagues. These are, and again, I have picked this from what I did in 2017. So you realize some of these things, this I didn't edit any of this. These are things which I did in 2017. Um, you know, more points on security. 5 seconds rule. Just immerse myself in it. 40-60-70 savings rule. Um, spend 60%, ensure that 40% you save. Deliberately practice empathy and remorse. Avoid the 3 C's of complaining, criticizing, and comparing. And I would catch myself at the end of the day. You ask yourself, did you criticize anyone? Did you compare yourself with anyone? Did you complain about anything? Do less, better, one new program a month. So these are things which are easy to do. They are simple, and you can actually do them. You can start doing them on a daily basis. I want to um, skip to what I call the winning strategies from your master list. And I call this the master list because these are things which you can easily do. So for love, you can decide that there will be no phones during dinner, no phones by the bedside, because you want to increase or better your relationship. Deliberately practice empathy and remorse. Catch yourself in action when you're being quote unquote an a-hole. Meditate a lot and pray. Active listening. Assume positive intent of others. Leave people feeling better and bigger, not bitter and smaller. So these are just examples. So in this slide here, what I ask you to do for yourself at the end of this exercise is to ask yourself, what are those things, simple things which you can do within the day to increase your security, to increase your sense of significance, to increase your connection and sense of love, to accelerate your growth, your personal growth, both professionally and personally. Again, for me, these are what we call my quick wins. These help me a lot. I call it my master winning strategies. So for security, it's weekly planning, ensuring that on Sundays I spend a lot of the evening hours just planning my week. Increased financial awareness, just being conscious of my expenditures and my behaviors, as how my financial well-being and how I invest. Significance, monthly mentorship, ensuring that I have these conversations. I deliberately mentor other kids, and Eddie, you know this because I've invited to one of the sessions. I deliberately go out to mentor others, because I want to feel like I've done something to humanity. Random acts of kindness, just walking by the wayside, just doing something randomly to humanity. Delaying gratification, punishing myself, love, do something special for her, just whether it's just chocolate or flower, whatever it is. Check on family, within the day, just call, find out how she's doing. Say hi to my colleagues, every morning. Growth, just do one book a month. Begin with the uncomfortable. And I told myself no pettiness. Whenever I find myself being drawn to pettiness, I simply run away. So for me, these are quick things which I can do to just ensure that I am fully aligned in what I'm doing. So like I said, if you set your goals, clarify your values, and identify simple things which you can do on a daily basis, then you are on the pathway to re-engineering your life. And at the end of every single day, you ask yourself some fundamental questions. You know, um, what would success look like for you? And paint it, whether it's in form of dollars or shillings. Paint it. Be very clear. This is how I want it to look like. What roadblocks await you? You be very clear with yourself. Yes, I want to go to I want to start exercising, but I love morning sleep. My personal habit of sleeping in the mornings will come in the way. So what do I need to do? Family needs, emergencies, I don't know how. All of those things. What specific first step? Actually, the most important thing is actually the first step. So yes, you want to address the question of your physical health. But what is the immediate first step which you need to do? You want to enhance your emotional state of being. What is that first step which you need to do? Could it be taking hard feedback? Or could it be listening to someone criticizing you and you say nothing at all? Or could it be catching yourself in the action of complaining, criticizing, or comparing? I I actually ask you to do this upon yourself every single evening. Maybe for me, I do it before I close my laptop to be done for the day. I normally ask myself these questions. Did I set clear goals in the morning? Did I make any progress towards my goals? What did I do today to increase my security? What did I do to create security for others? What did I do to build positive relationships? What did I do to appreciate my significance? What do I do to see and appreciate the significance of others? What did I do to learn and to grow today? What did I do to be fully engaged? And I do this exercise every single day. Since then, I have never stopped keeping my personal diary. I wish I could just show you the writings. From 2017 today, I keep a personal diary, and I assess myself after the 30 days. I look back, I read through. After the 90 days, I look back, I read through. At the beginning of the year, you set your object at the beginning of the month, so that your objectives for the year do not look arbitrary. They do not look hairy and too big to achieve. And with that, I want to stop there. But then as I end, I just want to say that the daily questions really work so well. These questions here, um, these questions here, these work magic. Trust me. You do this, you will be fully engaged. I kid you not. I'm not saying it is magic, but it is scientific. Yeah. These daily questions reinforce your commitment. They ignite your motivation where need be. They shrink your goals into achievable, measurable, effort-based matrices. Um, Next steps, if you don't have already, get a coach. Can be anyone really, but it is an accountability partner. You know, it is a way of establishing an accountability mechanism. Could be your very good friend, could be a colleague at work, could be your spouse. You know, you can take this journey together. Ask the daily questions at the same time every day and record the results. You know, as you ask these questions, they are also doing the same exercise, and that form of accountability mechanism helps you share, helps you grow, and you will realize that things don't look the same. It looks arbitrary sometimes, but I kid you not, this has been my story. It is working for me, it can work for you, and I did not invent it. Those who have gone ahead of me are using this. My mentor and coach, Mario, normally says that, Steve, this is part of the reason why I don't have one job which I do every 3 years. So every 3 years she changes her jobs. So whenever she begins any job, she counts 1,000 days. By the time she gets to the 1,000 days, she's changed the job. For me, I gave myself a rather ambitious goal of 18 months, and somehow it's working. Obviously, it means that I sometimes have to work double, but I have been with ACCA for 7 years. This from 1st of July, that's going to be technically my 5th job. And at a personal level, some of the aspirations which I had, like farming, for example, I'm doing farming already, and things are not going so badly off because I am passionate about farm. There are 3 things which I'm passionate about: farming, cooking, and mentorship. And those 3 things, I am doing all of them right now. It's not to say that my life is a perfect story of success, but at least every single day when I wake up, I am excited. And that is what I really hope that you can get to. You get to the point where you wake up every single day and you are excited. It is not an easy thing to achieve, but I'm happy that God has been gracious for me. Yeah. In 90 days, do this exercise. And then I am happy for us to take questions. Really, the next point are the reference books for which brought this material together, as well as some podcasts which you can look at. And with that, I will stop sharing and take questions.
Thank you, Steve, for that wonderful presentation. We had a question from John Amwai.
John, over to you.
Thank you for having me on board. I have two questions actually. One is with your vast knowledge of and experience of mentorship, what is required to be one of your mentee? The second question is, what are the type of skills one requires to venture in a research field if one wants to continue the research career? Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for those questions. So you asked two questions. One is, what does it take to be my mentee? Well, for me, it's mentorship is part of what I do. It's who I am really. To be very honest, I can't survive without mentorship. I have 4 mentors and about 15 mentees. And for me, it's a journey, sharing and building friendships and building relationships, and having moments to learn in a guided, structured manner. So what does it take to be my mentee? Really nothing. You just have to be a normal human being with a will. But then obviously what I try to do is to not get into all mentorship sessions, because I need to commit the time and energy to be able to do my best. So I am part of 2 structured mentorship programs, one by accounting students and one by Greenhorn Mentorship. And at a personal level, at my place of work, I do have uh, 4 mentees who are assigned to me by nature of what I do at work. And then through social media, sometimes people come that they want. So through the informal model, I normally take not more than 3 in a year. So unfortunately, that is taken for now. But then we can keep contact every single year. I normally take 3 people who I just journey with, and they become friends. When I have important moments in my life, I invite my friends and mentees, and you realize that, by the way, after university, um, apart from workplace, there is really no point, very little places where you can get genuine connections with humans. Yeah. So for me, mentorship is a way of widening my circle in a very easy, nice model. The question to do with what skills does someone need to enhance their careers in research, to be very honest, I wouldn't say I know much, because I haven't done research at a very personal level. I
I
hope
think I
that,
dig
that
that.
that answers your question, John.
Yeah, that answers my question. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we can take 2 more questions, Janet.
You have another question from Alan Kafai, and then the last question for the day will be from Eric Karani, so he can prepare while Alan asks his question. So they already typed
Okay.
his question. He says, what would be the appropriate career progression for someone who has been doing internships on and on for the last 1 year and they're not getting any solid job so that they can move up?
That's a tight question. So I think internships are an opportunity for learning, and obviously, if you look at the last 1 or 2 years, opportunities have been closed up. So perhaps that is one of the reasons why the internship could have been long. But then my advice has always been that the only place where you can make a difference is with your work, where you are. And I remember, perhaps Monica, you can remember this statement which we used to say at MIAS, that you may not like what you're doing now, but whatever God gives you as a role to do wherever you are doing it at, do it so well that whatever you will want to do next will find you ready. Yeah. So it is to say that internship, so long as you have the first leg into an organization, that is where it all begins. And everything else works out within that environment. If it takes too long to work out, then that's a completely different conversation. And I'm happy for us to have that conversation. But my fundamental belief is wherever you are at, if you speak to the right people within that organization, what I've always said is you need to, develop your networks. Don't just work and go home. Ask yourself, who are the quote unquote sponsors within the organization? It's not to say that you want a sponsor, but you want people who can speak well of you and your work in rooms which you will never step in. You need to ask yourself, can you get a mentor within the same space or organization? And that's an avenue towards getting a permanent opportunity there. And while in the same organization, you could be working for Data Clip, for example. They are in the training and consultancy business. While working at Data Clip, you will have an opportunity to meet other organizations which are in the same industry. That is how you build your network. So, the first most important thing to do is to ensure that your work speaks for yourself, and
Mhm.
get people who can speak of your work in rooms which you can never step in. Yeah. Editon had a question.
I have to say, by the way, I've really enjoyed this. I don't know why I haven't been attending this. I've missed a lot, it seems. So, Steve, you've articulated very beautifully about your goals, your purpose, and how you go about pursuing those. And what I'm curious is, what would you say is the one thing that keeps you going, the one thing that gets you out of bed, and so you can pursue this purpose? In other words, what's your why? Why do you do it? Why do you pursue this purpose? Why are you pursuing these goals? What is the end goal? At the end, why? You know what I mean?
I get your question.
Right.
I get your question. Um, to be very honest with you, my why is my firm belief that um, God created work for humanity, and that work should serve humanity, and I should be of service to humanity. And in every place where I find myself, I should be of service. And that is the fundamental growth, that you know work to humanity is actually service to God. That's my fundamental belief, that I am doing my part, which is what God gave me as a responsibility. He gave me I think I am brilliant. He gave me the brilliance, the energy,
Yeah.
the the ability to speak, all of this gifting to serve him. And how else to serve him than to begin by serving humanity? And I believe that if I serve humanity in my place of work, in my family, in my society, then I'm doing God's work. So really, I believe that work, um, there is a biblical verse which speaks to the concept of work, that man was tasked to work. Yeah. And it is a call to duty and service. So I wake up every single day knowing that it is a noble duty, that I should be of service and I should be useful. And I know that I'm not going to be around for so long, Eddie. So
Right. Right.
with with this life which I have, let me serve humanity diligently.
Yeah. Thank you. That you've articulated very well. Thank you. I appreciate that answer. And I brought that up because, you know, this is very personal, as you mentioned, right? So for you to work, like, for example, you see people despairing and giving up, and the primary reason why people give up is because they don't have a why. Because if you are to go out and pursue goals, the first thing you need to have is, why am I doing it? Because if you can have a why you're doing it, a driving force, that's what's going to get you that inertia to start. Because the first step is to start, and for you to start, you need to have a why. And you've articulated that for you it's a spiritual thing. It's God has given you that purpose. But the reason why I pivot back to this being personal is because some people don't believe in God. If you don't believe in God, you need to have your own reason why, why you're doing that. What's driving you to go? And just to close this out, my own remarks is, set goals. As Steve has mentioned, you have a why. Okay, you have a why, and then you set goals, you have a purpose. And so you go out and you work hard. There's no secret. You have to work hard. You have to work smart. and consistent. So you have to set smart goals and then go hard at those goals, because you can work really hard at something that is not smart. It's not going to give you the result you want. And then you need to be consistent. And I'll give a quick example. If you, for example, you say your goal is to lose weight. Okay, what are the things you need to do to lose weight? You could go the diet way, you could go the gym way. Now, let's say you are at the gym and you pick exercises. If you pick the wrong exercises, you're going to hurt yourself, right? And if you pick just easy exercise, you may not hurt yourself, but you are not going to be efficient.
Achieve
You may
anything.
not burn enough calories. So you want to pick smart goals and then work hard at those goals. You know, you need to crank at it hard. You need to sweat a little bit at least. And then you need to do it consistently every day. And consistency is key, because if you go to the gym today, okay, and then you go tomorrow, you go the next day, you go for 2 weeks and look in the mirror, you may not see any changes. But after a month, you might see some changes. But can you tell me at what point those changes started happening? You cannot. It may not be visible. So just stay consistent, work hard, and be smart. So thank you, Steve. This has been awesome. And I've been enriched in a great way. So I appreciate you. And Jason and Janet for organizing, and everybody else who participated. Yeah.
Thank you, Eddie.
Thank you.
You couldn't have summarized it better. You know, on reflection, really, you could be doing what it takes, but then if you don't have the right reasons why you're doing it, then it could be one of the reasons why you could not be happy or achieve what you want to achieve. But then again, Editon has put it out so nicely. As I end, I just want to say a big thank you to Jason and team. Thank you all. God bless. And, see you another time, hoping that there will be another time. Back to you, Janet.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve, for your time and for the wonderful presentation that you've given us. I want to hand over to Jason so that he can give the closing remarks, and then we can all break for the evening and the long weekend.
Good evening from Kenya. I know some of us are joining from everywhere. Eddie, somewhere in the US, Janet in the UK, and everybody wherever. Join us. Thank you so much. Now, as we summarize that wonderful session by one and only Steve, another discussion that just crossed my mind is, while Steve insisted that people have talents, which I agree, a friend of mine yesterday iterated that, nobody is born a natural. What you need to do is you work hard to get good, then you work harder to get better. But that's a discussion for another day. I won't start that today. So thank you all so much for joining us today. It's been a total pleasure having you interact with us, and of course, being able to illuminate the journey of life from a different perspective. We hope you've been able to, this has been valuable to you in one way or another. You've been able to pick a lesson that you might want to take forward in hoping that you become a better person in all aspects of your life. What we've done is, this presentation has been recorded. We're going to do a little edit, then be able to put it on our YouTube channel. I have hence posted the links in the chat box. Please feel free to follow, subscribe, like, share our YouTube channel. Our social media links have also been put in the chat group. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Janet promised to have this one where people dance every other place. TikTok, that one. Yes, so that will be coming up soon. We're going to share all the materials in the respective emails that you use to register for these events. A certificate will be issued as well, with 1 CPD point for those who are members of professional institutions, that is ISPAC, IHRM, and any other. We will be reaching out to Mr. Steve to also figure out how we can integrate our members who could be members of his prestigious institution, the ACCA. From DataClave team, we are more than happy. As Steve has mentioned, record your plans, itemize, prioritize, plan, and of course, have some time to reflect on everything you want to do. And hopefully when we meet up next, we shall be better people. Thank you so much, and thank you for joining us. Have a blessed evening. At that point, we should be free to log out.